This will not be the classic version of Jesus is the Answer, written in 1973 by Andre Crouch. I wrote this version of the song in 1974, having never heard Andre Crouch's song. In regards to the song, I have two stories to tell. The first occurred back in the late 1970s in my second grade Sunday school class at church. During the lesson, I overheard one of the boys jokingly tell another student that the answer to just about any question I might ask would be Jesus. Well, that was true, of course, and my emphasis was always on the obvious reason why we were in Sunday school or church. But the second thing I would like to point out comes from the Jewish writings collected around 200 AD called the Talmud. It records that for 40 years before the Second Temple was destroyed on the 9th of Av in 70 AD, all of the Yom Kippur sacrifices had been considered a failure for those 40 years. I will now list a few of the disturbing signs that made it look like a failure. First, the choice of lots that determined which of the two goats would be killed and which would carry the sins of the people into the desert came up in the high priest's wrong hand. I think it should have been the right hand, not the left hand. Also, the fleece covered with sacrificial goat blood that was hung on the temple doors failed to turn white. Next, the scapegoat began coming back from the desert, thus bringing the sins of the people back to them. And finally, well, at least another sign, the temple doors, which were always shut, would swing open of their own accord. The reason for all of this is that the Passover sacrifice of Jesus Christ the Messiah must have occurred in the spring of 30 AD. After that greatest of all sacrifices, God would never accept another sacrifice of any kind. That would have been a great insult to Jesus himself and would have nullified the whole process of salvation. Since the temple was destroyed in 70 AD before the Yom Kippur sacrifice, you must start counting off the 40 years in 69 AD and count backward. You will find that the count will end on the first failure of Yom Kippur in 30 AD. It is therefore logical to assume Jesus died on the cross earlier that year because Passover is in the spring while Yom Kippur comes in autumn, after the 9th of Av, which is about midsummer. I must concede that when going back and forth between the Hebrew calendar and today's Gentile calendar, it is easy to be off by a year. I hope the message of this song will inspire you.